Let's get straight to the crux of the matter. Where has the sport gone? Because once upon a time, Friday nights were boxing nights and boxers were having good financial remuneration. Now the picture is looking rather bleak for boxing.
Thanks for having us, and good evening. Yes, indeed. Over the years, the sport of boxing had grown into a particular level. It was indeed a shining example. One of the leading sporting codes, in the country. And then there came a period of a decline, due to a number of reasons, and a part of those reasons include, for instance, the decline in the funding for the sport. As well as a lack of a pipeline for talent development and talent retention, because, as you know, every sport is anchored on a good development foundation. That is the development of talent. And one of the challenges, of course, has been a lack of exposure, to the sport of boxing due to inadequate broadcasting. And as you know, our public broadcaster used to play a central role, in terms of this area. And we've also grown, as part of transforming the sport of boxing, the participation of women, but that has also declined a bit. But as the new board that was appointed by the minister, we've set ourselves, having acknowledged the challenges that the sport is facing. We've therefore set ourselves the task of renewing, growing, and transforming the sport so that it can reclaim, its historic glory as the popular sport, in the land, and as the sport of the people, because that's what boxing has always been and is about. It's a people's sport. It's a sport of the people, on the in the townships and in rural communities. So would really want to bring it back, to its former glory, and we set ourselves an ambitious program, in terms of really placing it on a renewal trajectory.
Mr. Jack, I hear you speaking about the new board and the program that you've set for yourselves, but at what areas are you specifically looking at to start rebuilding that sport? And as you speak to that question I've just asked you, what new ways are you looking at for generating income for the sport of boxing?
All right, thank you so much. At the core of what we want to do, one is to reclaim the pride of the national title, to place the national title, at the center of what we want to do, so that every boxer and every aspirant, a young person who really wants to be a boxer, really at one day want to really wear that belt. So part of the initiatives we want to embark upon to place the national title at the center and reclaim, its pride, would want, because boxing at the moment is largely funded by government. So part of what we are doing is to engage the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture at a national level, as well as provinces, including municipalities, to make it compulsory that every tournament they fund, there must be, in the bill, there must be a national title bout. This also includes, for instance, the renewal, of the sport of boxing as it pertains, to women. That's what we also want to do, to make it compulsory for every tournament that is funded by government, that at least in the bill, there must be 2 bouts, that are dedicated, towards female boxers. But what we have also done with regards to the promoting the development of women boxing was to set up a committee which is chaired by one of the board members who's a female, whose primary task is to promote the participation of women, in boxing. And again, with regards to funding, we would want to engage municipalities, would want to engage provincial government as well as national government to continue to support boxing. But we would also want to invite the private sector, to come on board. But as you know, the private sector wants a return, on investment, and part of that return is really its exposure, which is why we think that the return of the public broadcaster, to the broadcasting of boxing, not just the public broadcaster, that is television, but also radio, will be central. Hence, in partnership with the department, we started engagements, with the public broadcaster, in this.
Mr. Jack, I'm glad you mentioned there that you've started those discussions involving the departments, which will now involve the national broadcaster. But what timelines have you also put in place for yourselves to actually achieve all these goalposts or milestones that you've just mentioned to us?
Well, as you can appreciate, everything is urgent, but not everything is within our own control. But with regards to engaging the department around the funding, as well as the support of the promotion of boxing by provinces and municipalities, that work is ongoing. That work will continue. For instance, before the end of May, we'll have a joint strategic planning session, for instance, with the department, with a view to tabling the plans that we have crafted as the board, with a view to soliciting their support. And part of that session will also include a provincial department of sport, arts and culture, as well as related stakeholders, so that we can have a common view, in terms of where to take boxing.
Okay, Mr. Luthando Jack, thank you so much for making time for us tonight. We are certainly hoping to see some changes in the sport of boxing on the same basis that you've discussed with us this evening. Have yourself a good night, sir.